It does seem at some point like a switch was flipped and you went from old Tarl to new Tarl. And I wonder, when did that happen?
Actually, so it's still a work in progress, and I'll tell you the mastermind conference, and I'm not paid for this or anything else, but I will preach that had a lot of effect on me as well. It's in the ongoing process, right? One of the things I realized there was somebody had said, hey, like, part of my problem is growing up poor is the fact that, like, I have this mindset that money's not renewable. It's so spending it, right, is a hard thing for me to do. And the same with marketing. But a lot of it, again, is my girls. And, research and science shows that fathers with females tend to be more empathetic and tend to have higher success. And any changes I still needed, I made because of my girls. Like, there's so many things in my life and in my world that I cannot or won't do for myself, but I'll move heaven and earth for them and my wife.
I think it's important. I mean, having something like that in your life, like, why am I doing this? Having that why, I think that's really, really important. I do wonder, I wouldn't say worry. I do wonder how much you maybe focus on other people and not enough on yourself.
It is an issue, and it's one of the things that my wife and I cover frequently. The running joke in the house is my job is to protect her from the world. Her job is to protect the world from me. And sometimes that means she has to protect me from myself, because it is an issue. There's very few things I do for myself. And part of that has to do with some PTSD and some wartime injuries and some struggles there of, like, I don't deserve them because of the things I've gone through and been through. And some of it is just because of the things I've gone through, I just don't have, protecting myself isn't always in my realm of thinking, but protecting others, that always will be.
What are some things that you've wanted to do, but that you put off?
Traveling is a big one. I've seen all the parts of the world I don't want to see again, is the running joke. I've seen a few of them I do want to see again. But that's a big one for me. Another one is, doing woodworking, for example. Like, that's something I absolutely love. But I also know if I do that, even from the job I have now, like, there's so few people who will be helped by me doing that. And I feel like I almost have an obligation to.
Interesting. What about the idea that if you don't really take care of yourself, you won't be able to take care of other people? So
that is true. And I will, like I said, there are so many times my wife will tell me, hey, you're pushing yourself too hard. You have to stop. And she's learned to do it from an approach of, like, I can't handle this because I'll respond to that, rather than you can't handle this. And so, again, I do think that you have to fill your cup. And one of the things that I have learned along the way that somebody said is, it's great to give to other people. It really is. But if you do that first, it's a terrible business plan, because you're going to run out of money, you're going to run out of time, you're going to run out of energy, and then you have nothing left to give, and you have no way out of it.
It's true. And that's kind of what I was getting at, is that I do wonder if there's a certain point where your cup is going to run empty because you've not been filling it up. Because I do know how much you care about your kids and your wife, because whenever I first talked to you, you definitely talked about it a lot. It's been a focus of this show, obviously, but I do think there's something you need to start focusing on yourself, just because I like you. I think you're awesome. And I would hate for you to kind of burn out. It's family, especially with family law. Family law is a practice area that those of you that do it, I've handled 3 family law cases, and I don't want another one ever again. It's just, as you know, it's a tough one. But why family law? I do wonder why you got. I wonder why you got into family law.
Honestly, I got into it because for many years it was about people that needed help, and for many years I did it exclusively pro bono. And so my clients would pay the cost, and then at the end of them, I'd tell them, look, if you want to give me a tip, that's great, but if not, I understand. And so originally that's what got me into it. And then it just turned into this thing of just, now I've got so much experience and time in it that I'm kind of backed myself into a corner with it.
Okay. With that phrasing, we're gonna stay here. Why wouldn't you just start with a new, start anew?
Learning, honestly, there's a lot of pain to it, and it is a lot of drain. And I don't know that I have the energy in it for me to go through that process again. And honestly, again, it's about helping people. And when I did burn out before, coming back with a mindset of like, when it's two individuals divorcing without kids, that's a whole different approach. But when kids are involved, let's focus on them. And so that's the part that gets me through it is the stories where at the end of the day, like I get to see the client or the kids 2 years later and they're in a great place. And that's what kept me coming back to it.